Hey, what's up, everybody? So today we're going to start the first video of a five-part series going over each element, kind of their strengths, a little bit of their weaknesses, but mostly what they're kind of good at, what their role is in each element. Um, Now we don't have the full set. We have 84 of 120-ish so cards, so we're not going to be able to go over the full set of element, like what each element does, but we have enough cards to kind of look at the basics of what it's trying to do. So without further ado, we're going to start with water and move on to the rest in some future videos. So let's begin. So starting with water, I have this spaced out. I'll start with the Atlantis up at the top right here. Atlantis, it does the same thing that all the other stadiums do. So we're not going to worry too much about stadiums. They're kind of irrelevant for archetypes. So the top row here, water is okay utility. So we have Afros, you can draw some cards. Smeltuga, you can search for a fire, and there's some fire-water synergies. But it's a search card. It's some utility, and you have cannot be targeted by opponents' counter runes. That's okay. So they have a little bit of utility, but I'd give their utility like a C. It's very low, but it exists. I think their main two focuses though here are how sticky they are with this row of cards. So starting with Station is a 1/6, and right there, that is the biggest one cost body. So 1/6, you are not attacking over this with anything without doing something else first. So you cannot just throw your Necrov down, hit this, and trade. You can't throw your Storelet down and hit this and trade unless you expend one. So super sticky. Foamy, you have to destroy it with an effect or a rune, or you're just going to get another foamy back, and you're going to keep getting your foamies back, and it keeps your board resilient. So their resilient strategy is, you just keep getting foamies, keep the foamies rolling. Very resilient. The Caprigal pulls back the foamies. Again, you're getting some more card resiliency. You have more cards on the board. It's harder to remove multiple cards in a turn. So Caprigal helps keep things, again, rolling and resilient. And then Sluggle gets you some water spirits back, which helps keep you alive, which makes you yourself more resilient to actually losing the game. So water has like a B. I'll give it like a B plus A minus in their how resilient they are, and that's a pretty good trait to have because you want to play cards. You don't want your cards to just go away. You want them to stick. And then water also has very strong ramp. And if you're new to card games and don't know what ramp is, so ramp is acceleration or the ability to play bigger spells or more expensive spells faster. So for example, we can play Tad Puff on turn 1 to go straight into a 2-drop with our normal ascend for turn. We can play Poseidon and Nexus Water to something. Same thing with like Aphros, we can Nexus Water to something to make a 3 cost on turn 2. We have Glauby that gets us some more enchantments to get us to a higher enchantment cost to make us play bigger spells faster. So Water's got a great ramp package in just these 3 cards, and Aphros helps that package a little bit. So Water, I think, being the only color right now that really ramps, I think is like an A tier like ramp right now because just Tadpuff alone really accelerates what you can do in a turn. Like Tadpuff into Krakatuga, which I have hiding over the end. I'll talk about that at the end of this video. But Tadpuff just accelerating into a 2-drop can be really useful, especially when that 2-drop is, say, Glauby. You play in defense position, it's hard to deal with, and it'll draw you an extra card right away. You might Tadpuff into a Caprigal because they blew up your Foamy last turn with Earthquake, and you just get that Foamy back. So the ramp is very nice. And then they have a little bit of control. Vertaqua's a good card. Tsunami's a good card. Crackhead isn't that great. So to go over them quickly, Vertaqua will allow you to attack a defense position Celestial, destroy it, and negate its effect without combat. So once you declare your attack in defense position Celestial, it'll destroy it and negate whatever abilities it might have. It's pretty solid, especially when you pair it with Tsunami, which puts all non-water enchanted Celestials in the field to defense position and makes it so that they cannot change their position until the end of the next turn. Or until the next turn. So these 2 cards on their own give Water a very nice control package, but because Water doesn't have enough control, the Water control package is more of like, your secondary thing, whereas your ramp or resilient package in Water, that's what your Water main decks are trying to do. They're trying to be resilient, stick on the board, and ramp into big things. Those are your main Water archetypes, and the other 2 archetypes with its kind of support with Smoltuga Afros drawing or it's for Aqua Tsunami support. Those are like sub things. So if you maybe run like Water Fire, you might run a Water Fire control deck. You'd run for Aqua Tsunami in that. If you're trying to run some like Water Fire utility stuff, you can run Afros and Spaltuga in that. Those are your sub themes. Your main themes are what you're building water around, which are Ramp and Resilience. And just to briefly go over the hybrid thing here, Krakatuga is a prime example of what you do with like your support water package with your Smoltuga and like maybe a Tadpuff. It's like if you're playing Water Fire aggro, you can get a Krakatuga out really quick with Tadpuff, or keep Smoltuga in defense position and go into Krakatuga the next turn if your Smoltuga lives, and then burn them out from there. But Krakatuga is an okay card. He's not great. He kind of doesn't fit Fire archetype, but he does fit the Water archetype a bit better. So yeah, that's Water. It's not, you know, no pun intended, but it is fun blowing me out of the water. But its main two archetypes you're going to focus on if you're making a water deck is how resilient it is and how much ramp you can have with it. And those are your main water decks. And then your subsets again. You can throw in some control cards, you can throw in some utility cards into your other colored decks and run from there. So yeah, that's water. The next video will be fire. Stick around. That'll be probably coming tomorrow. And like, subscribe if you like the video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's fairly short, but I don't want to go too late with these videos. So have a great night. Like, subscribe. I'm trying to get that 100. Appreciate it. Thank you.